Last night, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert didn't just flirt with controversy, it dove headfirst into it. What was supposed to be a high-profile sit-down with Senator J.D. Vance turned into a scorched-earth verbal war that left the studio reeling, the audience stunned, and social media in overdrive. What began as a routine promotional interview for the Ohio senator and Trump loyalist quickly devolved into one of the most chaotic segments in late-night memory. Vance, author of Hillbilly Elegy, former VP contender, and populist firebrand, strode onto the stage with practiced confidence, ready to tout his rural roots and conservative agenda. But Colbert wasn't playing host. He was playing prosecutor, J.D. Colbert opened with a smirk. "Are you here to sell Appalachia, or just Trump's latest con?" The audience gasped. The sarcasm wasn't subtle, and Vance didn't let it slide. "I'm here for truth," Stephen Vance shot back. "Not cheap shots from a man who's never spent a day outside his echo chamber." Things escalated fast. Colbert cued a clip of Vance at a recent rally, fire and brimstone rhetoric, Trump praise, and red meat populism. Then came the snide remark, "Is this grit, or just a guy cashing in on the MAGA tour?" Vance's reply was cold and cutting. "It's grit you'll never understand. I lived it. You mock it from your Manhattan perch." The audience split, some applauding, others groaning. Producers, watching nervously from backstage, realized they were losing control. But this was only the beginning. Vance leaned forward, fire in his eyes. "You don't know my people, Stephen. You're a coastal snob with a microphone." Colbert didn't miss a beat. "Snob? I'm not the one fundraising with billionaires while preaching about the working class." The crowd gasped again. J.D. Vance's jaw clenched. The gloves were off. Colbert leaned in harder. "Let's be real, J.D. You talk about hillbilly roots, but you're neck-deep in Trump's billionaire circles now. That blue-collar stick doesn't play when you're dining at Mar-a-Lago." He rolled another clip Vance at a Trump fundraiser, shaking hands with mega donors. The audience reaction was instant. Laughter, murmurs, a few scattered boos. "That's loyalty," Vance growled. "Something you wouldn't understand. You flip-flop for laughs. Loyalty or ambition?" Colbert fired back. "You went from rags to riches just to become Trump's lapdog." That was the breaking point. "Lapdog," Vance barked, his voice rising. "You sit there in your $1 million studio lecturing Americans about values you don't live. You're everything that's wrong with this elitist media machine." The air went dead. Even Colbert paused, and then dashed chaos. Vance stood, ripping off his mic. "This is a joke," he snapped. "I came here expecting disagreement, not a smear. Campaign from a glorified comedian." Security shifted nervously. Producers scrambled. The audience was now a mix of stunned silence and scattered shouts. Colbert stayed seated, cool and clipped. "If you can't handle questions, Senator, maybe you're in the wrong business." Without another word, J.D. Vance walked off the set. The cameras didn't cut. The walk-off was live, real messy, and unforgettable by the time credits rolled. The clip was already trending. #VanceVisColbert lit up every platform. Commentators called it everything from a meltdown to a media trap. One thing was certain, this wasn't just another talk show segment, it was late-night history. "I fight for the people you ignore." Stephen Vance growled, leaning forward, eyes locked with the host. You're just the pet culprit. Cash keeps you barking." The shot landed like a grenade. The audience exploded, some cheering wildly, others booing, voices clashing in a chaotic storm. Producers leaned in, headsets buzzing as panic rippled through the control room. The segment was unraveling fast. What sent the whole thing into freefall wasn't just the insults, it was the defiance. "You mock my story, Stephen," Vance snapped, his voice sharp, almost shaking. "I clawed my way up from nothing. You inherited that desk." Colbert's grin widened, cold and razor-edged. "Clawed out, J.D., you clawed into power. You sold out the same roots you brag about. You're not Appalachian grit, you're Trump Polish." The audience fractured. Some started chanting "J.D., J.D." Others laughed, jeered. Phones raised high as the moment went viral in real time. On-X clips surged under trending tags like #VanceUnhinged and #ColbertClash.Vance, single quotes as fists clenched. "I'm not your punching bag, Stephen. I'll take you down." Colbert didn't blink. "Take me down." "You're shaking, J.D. That Trump armor's cracking." He pointed to Vance's trembling hand. The crowd roared. Some surged toward the edge of the stage, security on high alert. Producers waving frantically to cut to commercial. But Vance wasn't finished. "I'm not done," he barked. "You don't cut me off?" His voice thundered over the noise, rising into something close to fury. The room was shaking metaphorically and almost literally as the confrontation barreled toward its breaking point. Colbert leaned in. "Talk loyalty, JD. You say you're for the people, but you dance for Trump's donors. Is that what hillbilly honor looks like now?" Vance stood abruptly, towering over the desk. His voice cracked with rage. "Sellout. I'm real, Stephen. You're a fake, peddling lies for laughs." The audience split like a fault line cheers, clashing with boos, chants competing with gasps. The camera held on Vance, eyes burning. "You're Trump's puppet," J.D. Colbert fired back, deadly calm. "Dancing for his cash, his base, his approval. I'm my own man," Vance roared, slamming a fist on the desk so hard it echoed. "You're the puppet. Corporate strings yanking every word you say." The crowd lost it some. Chanted, others screamed, "Sit down." Phones stayed up, capturing every second. On social media, one clip simply titled, "Vance Snaps" hit 1 million views before the show even ended. "You're shaking," Colbert said again, voice like ice. "Trump's got you wound tight." What pushed the moment from madness to meltdown? It wasn't just the clash, it was the unraveling. "You don't know me, Stephen," Vance bellowed, stepping closer. "I've bled for my people. You've bled for ratings." Colbert's voice was a dagger. "You're bleeding now, JD. Cracking live. Just look at you." The crowd surged again. Some shouted, "Finish him," while others pushed forward. Security edged in. Someone threw a paper cup. Phones kept rolling. "I'll finish you," Vance snarled. "You smug hack." The words echoed through the studio like gunfire. Producers signaled, "He's losing it," one mouthed. But Vance wasn't done. "You're nothing, Stephen. I'll tear this whole thing down." Colbert stood, tall and unshaken. "Tear it down. You're falling apart. Get out." The command hit like a gavel. Final, crushing. The crowd was chaosum, yelling, "Kick him out." Others begging, "Let him stay." Vance ripped off his mic. "I'm not your toy. You're done." He hurled the mic at the desk. It landed with a metallic crash. Security rushed in. Vance thrashed against their grip. "Let me go. I'll walk." The studio had become a war zone, and as he was dragged off set shouting red-faced Michelista, internet did what it does best, turned the moment into legend. 1 million clips, 1,000 memes, one late-night meltdown no one would ever forget. Clips of the J.D. Vance meltdown looped endlessly across social media, each replay more jaw-dropping than the last. In a matter of seconds, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert spiraled from a tense political interview into a full-blown televised spectacle. Senator J.D. Vance, Ohio's Trump-anointed firebrand, was forcibly kicked off the set after a volatile clash with Colbert erupted into pure mayhem. What began as a verbal battle turned into a screaming match, ending in a dramatic exit that left the studio in chaos and the nation watching in disbelief. Insiders say the boiling point came after Vance, red-faced and trembling, vowed to tear Colbert down. The host didn't flinch. Instead, he gave a final ice-cold shove of words that ignited the eruption. Security stormed the stage. Vance thrashed, yelling, "Let me go, I'll walk," as his mic crashed against the desk and skittered across the floor. "You're done, JD. Hit the road," Colbert said, calm and commanding. The audience exploded, some roaring approval, others booing, pleading to let him stay. Vance, still shouting, "You're a coward, Stephen," was dragged toward the wings, his shoes scraping against the stage floor as the live feed held on tight. Phones were out, flashing like paparazzi strobes. Some in the audience chanted, "Trump's boy falls," while a handful shouted, "Stand, strong JD." The energy was combustible. Backstage producers froze, headsets quiet. One was overheard muttering, "He's gone." Then Colbert, ever the showman, delivered the line that would go instantly viral. "There goes the hillbilly. Folks, show's over." The crowd roared, debris flew, phones filmed, and online, the internet detonated. It wasn't just the it was the collapse. Vance's defiance crumbled on live TV. As security pushed him through the wings, he shouted over his shoulder, "I'll be back. You'll pay." But his voice was hoarse, his power drained. Colbert, now seated and smirking, delivered one last dagger. "You paid tonight, JD, in sweat and shame." The crowd split against yours, clashing with gear. On X, hashtags trended within minutes. Hashtag Vance kicked off hashtag Colbert crushes it hashtag mic drop moment. One post showed Vance's mic toss in slow motion. Captioned, "JD Vance goes full toddler." Another simply read, "Colbert owns him." Behind the scenes, Vance's team went dark. Sources say the senator raged backstage, shouting, "They'll regret this," his voice still shaking. But the damage was done. His tough guy persona had been publicly shattered. Meanwhile, Colbert soaked in the moment. "That's how you handle a senator," he said to roaring applause. The final minutes of the show unfolded in a kind of stunned euphoria. Audience members rushed the stage, others live-streamed from the aisles. Security cleared the set, the internet lit up with dueling takes. Vance humiliated Liv, one trending thread declared. Colbert, unstoppable, another read. Analysts, weighed in overnight. He didn't just interview him, he dismantled him. And as the dust settled, one truth remained. This wasn't just a late-night segment. It was late-night history. The hosts had won. The storm was primed, and the fallout, unstoppable. Senator J.D. Vance's chaotic ejection from the Late Show with Stephen Colbert has ignited a cultural wildfire that no one, not producers, pundits, or political strategists, can contain. What started as a bold sit-down with a Trump-aligned senator turned into a viral detonation, reshaping Vance's image and solidifying Colbert's dominance in late-night warfare. Sources say the fiery clash didn't just break the mold, it shattered it. Vance, once poised and defiant, exited the set red-faced, shouting, and Mikeless's final words drowned in studio chaos. The scene went viral within minutes. Clips of the walk-off, the mic toss, and Colbert's final cold dismissal now loop across X, TikTok, and every news feed in between. Insiders report Vance stormed backstage in a fury, yelling, "They'll pay for this," as aides rushed him past, stunned crew and cameras. Hours later, he posted 2X, "Truth doesn't bend, I'll rise." The post racked up over 150,000 likes but was instantly swamped by mocking replies. "You fell, JD," read one reply thread with millions of views. Another, "Mic drop," more like meltdown. TikTok lit up with memes. Vance's clenched fists captioned "Hillbilly Heartbreak" flooded For You pages. His supporters scrambled to defend him. They ambushed him. "He's a fighter," one user wrote, but the tide was already turning. The tough guy image had cracked. Meanwhile, Colbert seized the win with glee. Sources say his next show opened with a mic drop of its own. "We had a senator. He brought the heat. I brought the boot." Smug, maybe, but it worked. Ratings surged 55% overnight as viewers tuned in for the aftermath. Behind the scenes, Colbert's team was buzzing. "Vance thought he'd roll me," one insider quoted. Colbert as saying, "I rolled him." Analysts agreed. Colbert didn't just win, he crushed it. But some warned the host had painted a target on his back. The triumph, while dominant, came with risk. Online, the internet split like a thunderclap. "They ambushed him, he's gold," rumped one fan. "Trump's lapdog finally barked too loud," fired back a critic. Pundits debated endlessly. "He snapped," one analyst said. "Colbert baited him perfectly," another added, predicting political bruises and MAGA blowback. Inside Trump world, chatter spiked. Vance, some say, has gone silent, plotting a counterstrike. Rumors swirl of a rival appearance, a reframe, a redemption tour. But for now, he's licking wounds, the silence louder than any spin. The ripple effect is seismic. Late night is rattled. One expert called it a playbook. Rewrite maybe a rules breaker. Networks are now debating, go bolder and risk backlash, or rein it in and risk irrelevance. Viewers remain divided. Half cheer Colbert smashed a senator. Half cringe, too far, too brutal. Either way, the moment is etched in viral stone. Vance's fall, Colbert's dominance. The line in the sand has been drawn. But this isn't over. It's just the spark. Vance's comeback or Colbert's next escalation is already on the horizon. Smash that subscribe button. Now this fire's not going out anytime soon.